Why poverty is mentally exhausting. Poverty is often described as a lack of money. But what people rarely talk about is how exhausting it is to live with that lack, mentally. The tiredness doesn't come from one dramatic moment. It comes from the fact that nothing ever fully switches off. When money is tight all the time, your mind is constantly working in the background. Even when you're resting, there's a quiet calculation running. What if something breaks? What if prices go up again? What if next month is harder than this one? That kind of constant uncertainty demands attention. Not because you're pessimistic, but because uncertainty feels unsafe. Poverty forces you to think about things other people rarely have to consider. Every purchase has consequences. Every decision involves trade-offs. Every mistake costs more than it should. You're not just deciding what to buy, you're deciding what can wait, what can be postponed, what risk you're willing to take. That level of decision-making uses an enormous amount of mental energy. And it doesn't stop at the end of the day. There is no moment where scarcity clocks out. No season where the pressure fully disappears. Even when things feel stable for a short while, your mind doesn't relax. Because stability feels temporary. So your brain stays alert, always scanning, always checking whether the ground is still solid. From the outside, this can look like anxiety. But on the inside, it feels more like fatigue. A deep, quiet exhaustion that comes from always having to be careful. This is why poverty is mentally exhausting. Not because people aren't trying hard enough, but because they're trying constantly. There's also an emotional layer that makes this even heavier. Poverty doesn't just limit choices. It also limits how safe it feels to talk about it. Money stress is difficult to admit. It can feel exposing, embarrassing, like revealing something personal. So a lot of that weight stays internal. You carry it quietly while still showing up to work, to family, to everyday responsibilities. That hidden load is heavy. Over time, the exhaustion shows up in subtle ways. Concentration becomes harder. Patience gets shorter. Planning ahead starts to feel overwhelming. Not because you've lost ability or intelligence, but because your mental resources are already being used up. This is also why poverty often looks like burnout. Not the dramatic kind where everything collapses, but the quiet kind, where you're still functioning, still doing what needs to be done, but everything requires more effort than it should. And because this exhaustion is mostly invisible, it often gets misunderstood. People see the outcomes. They don't see the constant effort underneath. So poverty gets framed as a motivation problem, or a discipline problem, or a mindset problem. But none of those explanations capture what's really happening. Mental exhaustion under poverty is not a failure. It's a consequence. A predictable result of carrying too much for too long with too little room to recover. Understanding this matters, because it changes how you see yourself. You stop asking, "Why am I so tired?" and start noticing how much work your mind has been doing just to keep things from falling apart. That understanding doesn't remove the pressure, but it softens the self-blame. And sometimes, that small shift is the first moment where the exhaustion feels just a little less heavy. Thank you for watching. If this felt familiar, that's because a lot of people carry this quietly. Liking the video helps it reach others who might recognize themselves in it. And if this kind of understanding feels helpful, you can subscribe here. It helps this channel grow and reach more people who might need to hear this. Till next time.